Hey guys, welcome back. We're taking a break. I think it's always a good time to take a little bit of a break, just kind of a disconnect from all of the politics and stuff, and talk about something that we're passionate about. And one of those things, of course, is movies. I love movies. I know Drone Tech loves movies. I know Drone Tech loves video games. I love video games. So I reached out to Drone Tech and said, "Hey, dude," I said, "How about we do a video and talk about some of this stuff that's coming down the line right now?" Especially the Naked Gun series, because if you have been around back in the 1980s, the Naked Gun was obviously one of those slapstick comedies with that deadpan delivery that was amazing. Absolutely loved it. I remember watching it with my uncles growing up. It was one of my favorite movie series in the 1980s. Drone Tech.
Oh yeah, same here. I was introduced to it. I'm not sure exactly how it happened, but probably hang out with one of my friends at the time. He had HBO. We didn't have cable, so I go over there and watch all these movies. And I think that was my introduction to it. But yeah, even as a young kid, you didn't quite get the jokes, but you could tell that it was really funny. And I used to just laugh endlessly watching that stuff, and it carried on. I went back and I watched the Airplane movies, and then just kept watching slapstick, which continued, I think, kind of through the 90s and didn't kind of petered out. And then there hasn't really been any slapstick except for maybe the occasional like scary movie. And I think there was another series. I can't put my finger on what it was, but there was another kind of slapsticky kind of parody series. But other than that, I mean, we haven't had much comedy, much less slapstick. So yeah, it's really cool to see that they're doing a new Naked Gun. It's just a question of, based on the trailer, I'm not sure it's going to be the same kind of humor, timeless humor. You know what I mean?
Timeless humor. Yeah, and exactly. We'll look at that trailer here in a little bit to kind of react to it and give our thoughts to it. But you're right, though. We haven't seen much of that slapstick type of comedy in a couple decades, I feel like. Like you said, the Scream. No, it wasn't Scream. It was what did you just
Scary Movie?
Scary Movie, which was a spoof on Scream and that horror genre, right?
Right.
And you saw that a little bit in the 90s, late 90s, and of course the 80s, but not much in the last, like, I would say probably 10, 15 years at least. Not that type of slapstick comedy and my favorite type of slapstick comedy is the deadpan delivery of slapstick comedy.
Oh, yeah. And Leslie Nielsen seemed to be the king of that.
He was.
And it's funny because I don't think I was kind of down on Liam Neeson being, the new character in Naked Gun, because I'm like, he's not really a comedian. But neither was Liam Neeson. He was kind of a serious actor. I know he was in Police Squad, which I've never seen. I don't really know. Is that supposed to be a funny show? I'm not sure if that's serious or not, but I think it is funny. It's supposed to be comedic. Yeah. Okay.
Well, so
but he was mostly a serious actor up to that point. And I think it's just something about the way his face looks. And he just has a sort of a knack for the timing and everything. It's just so perfect.
I got a clip from one of the Naked Guns here. I don't know if this is it says Police Squad Naked Gun series. So this is from the series. So this is what kind of it was like on this. So here, let's watch this little clip here.
Oh, Drebin, I don't want any more trouble like you had last year on the South Side. Understand? That's my policy.
Yes, well, when I see 5 weirdos dressed in togas stabbing a guy in the middle of the park in full view of 100 people, I shoot the bastards. That's my policy.
That was a Shakespeare in the Park production of Julius Caesar, you moron. You killed 5 actors. Good ones.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's just it's amazing to me how funny it still is. I mean, I watch these clips and I am rolling on them. I mean, they're just so great. The one everybody always talks about, I always see it mentioned in comics, is the one where he's like, "Oh, nice beaver." And then as a kid, I vaguely understood that it was, what kind of a joke it was. I didn't fully get it, obviously. But then after that, she's like, "Oh yeah, I just had it stuffed." And I never noticed that until just rewatching those clips recently. And I'm like, that's freaking hilarious.
Oh, so much goldmine humor in these movies. Would you consider Austin Powers kind of that slapstick comedy?
Yeah, it's sort of a parody, but yeah, it's definitely got some slapstick in it. Like the scene where the guy's screaming and he's driving the steamroller really close up to him. That's very slapsticky.
That is. That is so okay. So that was Frank Durbin. Durin. What did I just call him? Durbin.
Yeah, Dick Turbin, because we're getting Dick Durbin now mixed up with it. Frank Drebin.
Drebin, thank you. That's what happens when you talk politics nonstop. You start inserting names that sound familiar. You're like, yeah, I think that's the guy's name. So here's the actual trailer for the new one, which stars Liam Neeson. Right,
Liam Neeson, right? Yeah. Do you think that played somehow into getting him, or it's just a complete coincidence that the names are kind of similar?
I was thinking about it all morning at work today. Drone Tech. I was doing the names in my head. I was like, I'm definitely going to mess it up when I say it. I started thinking about it. I said, was this purposely done? Did they like go find the actor? They're like, we need to find somebody who has like that same similar name. Maybe I think it's a coincidence, but
it's a weird coincidence.
So here's the trailer for the upcoming movie, and we'll go ahead and react to this in a second. Go!
Let's go! Multiple SWAT units responding to hostage situation.
Hey, little girl.
The second I saw this trailer, my mind immediately went somewhere else, which I'll mention. Go ahead.
What do you want, little one? Your ass.
That's the sound of the police! That's the sound of...
Who are you?
That was mildly funny. The sucker
Police
part.
Squad. The new version.
That's the sound of the police!
Hi, Daddy. It's me, Frank Jr. Love you.
Hey, Dad. Boy, do I miss you.
Sound of the police!
This was a little funny right here.
Right. That's literally the only mildly funny part of the whole trailer, which is a little concerning because the trailers usually, when you were in a showcase, a lot of times the funniest parts will be in the trailer. You'll see a trailer and it's like, oh, that's hilarious, but then it turns out that those were like the best parts of the movie. Mm-hmm. What do we have here? So
you were saying this the part where the little girl's coming up to the bank.
Yeah. Yeah. So right. The whole scene immediately just reminded me, like, I'm just going to say it's like it's a loaded weapon, right? So, and Loaded Weapon, there's a scene where, what's his name? I just forgot his name. The guy who played who played Pennywise in It.
Oh, I don't know that guy's name.
I forget. Hold on.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So he's dressed up as a Girl Scout, and he skips up to the house, and Whoopi Goldberg opens the door, and he's like, "Wilderness girls," and he comes in, and he does the same thing. He rips off his hat. He's like, I'm not a Girl Scout. And then Whoopi Goldberg reaches into her pants and pulls a sock out and throws it, which is freaking hilarious, right? But that scene is it's great. It's hilarious. And I just feel like he just ripped that, like he saw that and then he thought, oh, I'm going to do something with that. And even like all the police and people were telling me I'm full of shit, and maybe I am, or full of crap, sorry. The scene is just like the scene in Loaded Weapon. It's the hostage at a hotel. I forget what the name of the hotel is, but it's very similar. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just not getting like funny vibes from this at all.
Right. Yeah. And I had a little bit concerned when I saw who was directing it. Was it Seth MacFarlane? Did I read that correctly? Right. And I've seen some of his past comedy attempts. I think Liam Neeson actually was in one of them. Was a Million Ways to Die in the Old West or something like that. That movie. It was not very funny. There was a couple parts where you get like a laugh out of it, but the majority of the movie was not funny. And Liam Neeson played in that thing, so I wonder if that was a connection with Seth MacFarlane reaching out to him, since they had previously done projects together, and asked him to come and be part of this and delivered this. But again, that scene right there, yeah, I find it mildly funny, but nothing like what we were just watching just previously. Just a clip from a Naked Gun series.
Yeah, like I was in an argument with somebody on X about it, and they were saying how, the old Naked Gun movies are dumb humor too, because I'm like, this is like really lowbrow, like fart kind of humor. Like, oh, it's a guy and you're getting an upskirt of a dude. Like, oh, great. Like, nobody wants to see that. It's not particularly funny, but he obviously thinks that kind of stuff's funny because you see it all the time in his humor. But the writing in the original Naked Gun movies, while it seemed like they were kind of dumb jokes, they were really smart jokes made up to look kind of like dumb. You know, I mean, they were dumb jokes, but they were super smart too, and they're jokes that are still funny.
Yeah,
Real quick, I'm sorry.
No,
just
you're
like Frank Drebin's quotes. He's got all these quotes that he says, you know, like a midget in a urinal, I was gonna have to stay on my toes and stuff like that. You know, just real clever, funny things. And I just have no. We could be completely wrong, but you know, maybe this movie's gonna be great. You know, but
yeah, my hopes for movies being great these days are far and few between, and it's not just. It is not to slam the people who actually, you know, put a lot of work into these movies. I'm sure, you know, some of these people are very passionate about what they're putting out, but when you finally see it, I mean, you look at productions like, for example, you know, Snow White. I know it's not made for me. The adult male is made for, like, supposed to be for kids, but even then you watch it, even then see kids watch it, and they're not resonating with it like they would with the animated Snow White. And then they really move way far away from the source material, and it's not even the same movie any longer, and it just does not do well.
Right, and the problem with Snow White, it seems like that it's just like a lot of this stuff that Disney's putting out now. It's like it's not really very high quality. It's kind of made like a veneer subterfuge to look really amazing, but you just barely scratch the surface, and it's not. Like, you've probably seen these clips of Zelger or whatever her name is.
Rachel Zegler.
Yeah, and it's when she's being confronted by the assassin, you know, and she's just making all these like faces like she's high on something, you know, and it's like you watch that, and that's what they released in the movie. It's like, who watched this? The editor and the director watched this, and they're like, "Yeah, put that in there."
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Put that in there.
Right.
Did nobody have a concern or recognize that Rachel Zegler? And this is not a slam on her looks or anything, but just the way her character was portrayed in this movie, she reminded me of Laura Farquhar from Shrek.
Oh yeah,
haircut and everything.
Yeah, totally. And the big forehead.
I was like,
yeah.
Or Farquhar today.
Yeah, you know, I'm not one of these people that usually goes after her looks, and I'm talking about the faces she makes because it's just weird. Anybody who's seen it, it's freaking bizarre. And it kind of looks like she is on something like that's making her like teeth grit or something. If you've ever seen footage of a rave, you see a lot of people that look like her in that scene.
Yeah. So going back to the Naked Gun series and this upcoming movie, it's supposed to come out sometime this year. I really want to give it a fair shot, but just based off of this trailer alone, doesn't give me the hope that it's going to deliver like the original series did. And that's what we find a lot of times with these reboots, is that they lack the soul of the original.
Yeah, there's a certain something there that they've forgotten how to do, specifically pertaining to comedy. It seems like something is wrong with comedy. I mean, it's partially the woke stuff and all that, but there's something else going on. It's just like people are dumber, or they haven't had the life experience, or that brought them to a point where they could write that kind of good stuff. Maybe they've had an easy life and they just it didn't develop the same way. And it's too bad. I mean, we're kind of writing this movie off when neither of us have seen it, and it could be good, but just given the history of it, probably not. And it's too bad because, and we could segue into Minecraft maybe with this, because that's kind of the opposite thing happening, and it's not good. But there might actually, it seems like they're trying to make a return to slapstick. I don't know if you saw that Spaceballs is actually going to have a sequel made. It's official. Spaceballs 2.
I did not see that.
Yeah, Mel Brooks confirmed it is absolutely getting made, and I think they're even calling it The Search for More Money, just like they did, like joked in the first movie.
The Search for More Money,
right? In the first movie, he's selling merchandise. He's like, "Oh, this is for the movie Spaceballs 2: The Search for More Money," and they're actually gonna do that now. Mel Brooks is ancient. I can't believe that he could still write something, as funny as that, or even with help. And in fact,
Right.
I'm trying to remember the guy that's actually going to be doing it. It's not good. I'll have to look it up, but I remember not liking who's going to be directing it. So it's really too bad because I would love to see a return to slapstick, but I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see.
And I know we base a lot of our past experiences, especially with nostalgia. And I love watching a lot of your videos because you have so many things in your background. You have a Universal Soldier in the background with Jean-Claude Van Damme in that movie, and of course Obey, which was Roddy Piper, who played in that movie. And those were just great. I say great, not in the sense that they were just excellently received, because a lot of these are cult classic movies where only people seek out to find these movies to watch them, but they still hold up today. I mean, you go back and watch these movies, they hold up to the test of time.
That's why they're cult classics, because like They Live, this one didn't do well at all. It was a flop, and then ended up making all of its money back over the years, obviously, and then some, and it is a hugely popular movie. But yeah, you get the sense that the movies made today, and maybe this is just us being old and we're saying, oh, the new people, they don't know what they're doing. It was the golden age when we were young. But it kind of was. Like the 80s and 90s were kind of like a golden age of movies. I mean, just
I think so.
Pure objective levels, like practical effects and things and you look at a movie like Aliens, where literally every second of film in that movie is just wall to wall amazingness, on whatever level you want to grade it on. And yet you see them trying to make these Aliens movies today, and they're all just awful. Especially I just absolutely hate the new ones, whatever the hell they're called.
Yeah, the Prometheus, I think.
Prometheus, that series. Yeah. Just not into them.
I have a 17-year-old son. And so over the last couple of years, we've really explored the 1980s and 1990 movies, and he absolutely loves them compared to some of the movies that are coming out today, with the exception of a few good ones. I really enjoyed Maverick, the Top Gun movie. I thought that was a really solid follow-up to Top Gun, made today, in this era that we're in. And also, I don't know if you watched this movie at all, but Ford v Ferrari was also another excellent movie. It has
I've heard that, but I have not seen it.
Has Matt Damon,
I have heard that,
and the guy that played Batman. I can't think of his name at the moment.
Val Kilmer?
No, not Val Kilmer.
Oh.
The
different Batman.
Yeah, the one with the Joker in it. The Heath Ledger and
I don't know.
I don't know why.
I should know this. I know we're talking about movies and we don't know who these people are. Are you talking about the latest Batman? The newest one?
Not the newest one. The one that came out in 2008. Between 2008 and 2012.
Yeah, wasn't it? Let's just look it up.
He was in the movie American Psycho.
Oh, yeah. Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. Thank you, Christian Bale. I could see his face when we were talking about it. His face.
Many Batmans. Michael Keaton. For me, it's Michael Keaton. That's it.
But Ford v Ferrari. That me and my son probably watched that movie. Literally, we bought it 10 times in the last 2 months. We sit down. It's a longer movie too. It's almost 3 hours, but it's just so well done. So well done. You appreciate when they present you a movie that is really well done, and when that is delivered to the audience, they're going to repay by wanting more of that type of movie.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think, and I noticed this with video games too, and I started noticing it back a while ago, in the 2008, 9, 10, in that era, that the video games coming out started not to see. I didn't really like them, like the Battlefield series, for example. It just seemed like these movies were not being made for me. And I think, or these games, and it just seems like over time that's the same with movies. And the movies, like you just mentioned, that one and Top Gun, and every now and then they put out a movie that is sort of made for our demographic, and they do well because people take their families and their friends, and you get that kind of thing. But it seems like increasingly, especially with movies, they're making them for other people. They're making them for people, that have a completely different view of what's funny and what's cool. I think you got the Minecraft thing up here. I think Minecraft is a perfect example of that.
I do, yeah. A little bit on the Minecraft for you guys who are watching. Maybe never heard of Minecraft. Minecraft is a video game that was developed in 2000. I think it was 2012.
Was it 2000? It was earlier than that, wasn't it?
Maybe 2009. Look it up.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Well, while you're looking that up, Minecraft, and it became just a phenomenal hit. It was like a $20 video game. It wasn't very expensive at all, but it actually gave the player unlimited amount of creativity within the game.
2011. Yeah, the game itself, amazing. I've always liked it. I've always liked sandbox games. Any kind of game that can really stir a person to get creative and problem solve. And those two things are just going to build up your intelligence and your creativity. And it's all good. I see very little negative to Minecraft, the game.
Right. Yeah. In 2011, my son was, I think, 5 years old. So he absolutely grew up on Minecraft, and all his friends obviously grew up on Minecraft. That's what they played. That's what they watched on YouTube. All those YouTubers who make careers of talking about Minecraft, playing Minecraft, and doing all these Minecraft challenges and stuff like that. They grew up on that. So when this movie came out, they didn't go to watch the movie because they thought the movie was going to be good. They went to go watch this movie because it's Minecraft, because it's their childhood. And that's the reason my son told me, he's like, the movie looks dumb, Dad. He's like, but I'm going to go because this is what I grew up on. I want to go see what they're going to deliver on a movie from a video game that I grew up on the majority of my life.
Right.
And so he and his friends, like 5 or 6 of his friends, they dressed up in suits to go watch the premiere of this movie at our local theater here in town.
Nice. That's awesome.
Coming in with suits, like to the nines, dressed to the nines, suits, dress shoes, the sports jackets, everything, and taking pictures outside. And then when they get inside the whole display, taking pictures.
Man. You know what that reminds me of?
What's that?
It reminds me of when the original Mortal Kombat movie came out. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember that.
It was a big deal.
It was a big deal, and for these kids, for these teenagers, for these teenage boys especially, this is what it's directed to, right? Minecraft, I know it's for everyone, but man, the demographic for Minecraft is majority boys, and that's most video games, right? Most video games is played by boys, and if you watch YouTube, or if you're on YouTube, most content consumed on YouTube is done by males. I can prove that with just looking at my analytics. My male audience is like 80% of who watches my videos.
Yep, same.
So anyway, so this is what this movie's geared to, and there's another separate story that we're going to kind of talk about a little bit with this Minecraft. But here's the sneak peek or the preview on this movie. So let's take a look.
Don't worry! I'm gonna cushion our fall with this water bucket!
In the overworld,
Wow.
anything you can dream
That
about,
kid looks like Destiny.
you can dream.
He looks like who?
Destiny.
The guy.
I feel like they picked that kid because he looked like Destiny. Like they're like, pick a popular streamer. We want an actor who looks like a streamer that all the kids like, because he looks too much like a mini Destiny. Anyway, go ahead.
Create.
So they built all this?
That's Jason Momoa, the guy that was on Game of Thrones, the Horse Lord. He was also Aquaman, I think.
For me, it was Stargate Atlantis.
Okay, well, there you go. See, we were introduced him somewhere.
Yeah, most of it.
Hola.
That thing doesn't understand a word you're saying.
We're talking.
Life here was perfect. Until one day, flint and steel, we came across the Nether. A place with no joy or creativity at all.
What are you making? Oh,
If they get their way,
There's lots of
this
creativity
beautiful
there.
world and everything in it will wither and die.
Bio con Dios. It means goodbye, brother.
no, it doesn't.
Don't look at her. It does.
If we want to save this world, creativity is key to survival.
Now what? Elytra wingsuits.
Bye-bye. Those things work, right?
Absolutely.
Coming in hot!
I got something for you.
I love Blue House. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
This place makes no sense. Let's do this.
They want me to fight the chicken?
Oh god, this is the part that's running.
Chicken jockey!
rampant.
So that part where he says chicken jockey, my son said the theater went nuts. I guess it's some type of reference. I didn't play. I played the game, but not to the extent of like how much my son played the game.
Oh yeah, my daughter's super into it, but she wasn't quite sure what it was either. But yeah, I've been seeing all these videos of people going nuts. I know of several theaters that have had to like actually stop the movie because it was so crazy. Which is what an interesting thing about what's going on with this movie to me is that on one hand, it's good because it's bringing people back to the movie theaters, which is something the movie theaters desperately needed.
Yep.
And that's good. And it's making lots of money. I believe it's doing way better than Mario Brothers even did, which is concerning because Mario Brothers to me was a much better done movie than what they're going with here.
Correct.
And so the problem then becomes, I have not seen this movie. I've watched several reviews on it. I watched Red Letter Media talk about it. They stayed for like half of it and couldn't stand it anymore and left. So that's enough for me. I don't necessarily need to see it. But all that tells me now is that we're going to see more movies that are going this direction where it's just more of a carnival ride or something. Not really a good movie. Something you go see one time, everybody goes crazy and it's a big party, and then it's more of an experience than going to watch a movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think someone put it pretty well. It's Hollywood slop.
Yeah. It is.
And you're not going to eat it again. You may not, it's not going to be one of those ones that we're going to go out and buy and we're going to rewatch a bunch. It's not going to be one of those types of movies. My son said they just went for the experience to go again because it's their childhood. They just wanted to be able to watch it, right? Go and they wanted to hear the references. And every time they did a call back to a reference of like, Flint and Steel, the whole theater would like erupt and cheering and stuff like that. And then, of course, the whole chicken jockey thing, which I have a video pulled up here that we can look at real quick. What you were talking about, how they went crazy for that whole the whole chicken jockey thing. So let's see here. All right. So
yeah, I want to say something about that right after this.
Yeah. So here we go. Let me put it up on the stage here, and I'll hit play. So this is the whole chicken jockey. That's that whole part we saw in the trailer. So here it is.
Chicken jockey!
This seems kind of tame.
Okay, Snitch.
So the police were called in. The police were called in this instance here on this one.
Well, see, that's the interesting thing about this is, on one hand, it's bringing people back to the theaters, but on the other hand, it could, encourage them to do stuff that we don't like them to do in movies. But also, people are going crazy in the theaters. So if it was bringing back people to the movies, it seems like it's also turning them off to it, right? Because a lot of people aren't going to want to go and be involved in that. I mean, that's one of the reasons movie theaters are dying off, because you go to a movie, you want to sit down in the dark and be completely engrossed in the movie. Instead, like, you got to deal with people on their phones, people arguing, talking, and now this,
Yeah. Well, I think this is one of those things. I was thinking about this whole idea. This didn't happen in the theater that my son went to, because he would definitely have told me about it, because I would have thought it was hilarious. But I just think this is teenage boys, and they're just excited, and they get to watch this movie, which is for them, right? This movie's for them.
Sure.
and they just get excited by all the memes, right? It's all about the memes for these guys, for these kids, for these teenagers, and they just, it's popcorn. Yeah, I know it sucks to be a worker in the movie theater, and they're all throwing, because there's some of them I saw where they're just throwing popcorn up in the air. But how many times I remember going to a movie theater and there was like you said, Mortal Kombat, for example. How hyped up you were for them to, reference the video game. I remember in some of those instances where we didn't throw popcorn, but we like cheered and we're like, yeah, because it's the movies recognizing that the fans who are in the video game showed up to support this movie, and they're going to give you something for it inside the movie itself. And they want that reaction. That's the reaction I think that they want.
No, I agree. Yeah, and you're right about Mortal Kombat. I remember going to see that, and right after that intro with the music and the logos, like
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I remember the entire theater cheering. And same thing when I think it was when Scorpion came. It was like Scorpion. Everyone's like, yeah, And looking back, that movie's so trash. That movie is so stupid. It's the dumbest. I remember even kind of thinking it was dumb back then, but I'm like, who cares? It's Mortal Kombat.
It was still far superior than the Super Mario Brothers we got there in 1988 or 1989,
or the Street Fighter movie with Van Damme, which was
awful.
I
remember. If you're gonna watch a Street Fighter movie, I would recommend watching the anime Street Fighter movie. Much well done. Well done.
Seen it a million times. Used to love it when I was in high school.
Well done. Absolutely loved it. I just wanted to say this real quick because I keep looking at it in your background, your Dragon Ball Z poster in the back. I know I didn't put this on the topic, but have you watched the Dragon Ball Z Kai that's on Netflix?
I've seen I've never actually watched the series because as far as I know, it's shortened and censored and stuff, right?
Well, I don't know if it was censored or not, but I think it's like 20 episodes. It's on Netflix and it's the whole series. So it's a 20 episode series. I thought it was going to be dumb. I really did. I went into it, with a bad taste in my mouth already, thinking they were, but Akira Toriyama was, obviously heavily involved in this series. And it was like one of his final things that he was working on. And within the first couple of episodes, I was just enthralled. And it's all in.
Are you talking about Z? Dragon Ball Z Kai? Are you talking about Dragon Ball Super?
No, not Super. No, I think it was called Kai.
Is it something that just came out recently?
Yeah, they're like little kids.
Little chibi things. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I have not seen that yet, but I need to. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. I would recommend that to you.
No, I will for sure. Yeah.
The payoff at the very end is awesome. And it references some, callbacks in the series and stuff like that. I just think it was really well done. I think you really enjoy it. I kept looking at your poster. I'm like, I wonder if you've watched that yet.
Oh, no. I freaking love it. I've watched through Z and GT and the original series with my kids several times now. So
Same here.
I love it here.
One of my favorite series. And also, One Piece. I love One Piece.
Oh, yeah. One Piece. It's funny. We just started watching that. It's cool. I like it. It's not quite what I'm into, but it's still cool. I also just got into One Punch.
One Punch Man?
Yeah, I'm pissed because I can't watch the next season yet. I watched it all super quick, and then I watched Invincible because some people suggested it, and I was getting the two series confused there for a minute because they're kind of similar.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen that one. Have you, Invincible?
I saw the whole first season. Have not watched the second season.
It's awesome. It's funny because it's real similar to Dragon Ball. Just the kind of baseline story about it. Mm-hmm. I forget what they're called. The alien race there that's coming though is just like the Viltrumites. Yeah, they're just like the Saiyans. They're essentially Saiyans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, excellent show. Obviously a little bit more mature, right? You don't want to have to watch your little kids to have to watch it.
A little graphic.
So, speaking of Dragon Ball Z, there was a couple video games I used to play, the Budokai series. I don't know if you PlayStation, Xbox, or whatever, the Budokai series, and also the Switch. The Switch 2 is coming out here soon. I don't know when the release date is, but I remember I was watching on X, Twitter, or whatever. People freaking out because of the tariffs, right? And you and I, we cover politics, so we're just we know all about the tariffs and how everybody freaks out or how the media freaks out about the tariffs or whatever. But I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue. However, it is going to be one of the most expensive Nintendo's products that has been put out to market for Nintendo, which is but Nintendo's like it, right? When you think of video games, most people think Nintendo. If I say, "What's your favorite video game system?" Nintendo. It's typically what you would hear, and I think Nintendo would switch. I'm not a big Switch fan. I don't know if you have a Switch.
We have multiple Switches.
Okay, yeah, my son got a Switch a couple years ago for his for either Christmas or for his birthday. I don't quite recall, but he got it. He does not play that nearly as much as he does his gaming computer. He'd rather play his gaming computer than a Switch. Switch just sits there inside the little case that it comes in, and nobody plays it. Right. I know there are people that are hardcore Nintendo, hardcore Switch or whatever, and those if that's your thing, great. But man, I'm a PlayStation guy. I got a PS4. I haven't bought the PS5 because I'm hoping that they bring the price down a little bit more before I go buy it. But the big story out of this whole Nintendo Switch thing is them raising the prices of the actual video games to like $70-$80 a video game. And people were freaking out on X about it. And Drone Tech, I don't know if you remember, you might. I remember some of the cartridges for like the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo going for like $70.
Yep, 100%.
And I think what we have experienced in the video game industry right now is a suppression of prices for over 2 decades. Truly, if you are putting out in those video games that we were buying back in the 90s, early 2000s, they gave you gameplay for about 40 hours. Some of these new video games that are coming out give you gameplay for over 100 plus hours. In some cases, like Red Dead Redemption 2, that's like a 200-hour game if you do everything in the video game. And are you going to and people were, I think that retailed for like $60.
Yeah. Yeah, I think some of the main issues with the pricing for the new Switch is, one, you can get a Steam Deck for about the same price, if not lower. And then you have, full access to PC games. You can play emulated games. You can do all that stuff. Arguably a lot more than what you can do with the Switch. The Switch is nice if you're really into Nintendo, products, Nintendo games. I mean, that's really all it is. You said you have
$450. Yeah, $450
like,
when Switch 2's come out.
Right. It's basically, from what I've read, a PS4. So it's basically the power of a PS4 in it. So that's that's kind of cool. But yeah, you could definitely get a Steam Deck for lower than $450.
Yeah.
And another thing is, like for my wife, a lot of the stuff she likes Animal Crossing. They didn't even mention anything about Animal Crossing release, which I think is weird because that's like one of their main huge games that a lot of people play. But another thing you said, like your son doesn't play, just to say, for here it's nice because I have kids and young kids can play that, and we play Fortnite together. So I'll be on my PC and then they can play on the Switch, which is neat if it's cross
platform. Yeah.
And
I'm looking at this thing. I've owned a few of these. I owned a GameCube, I owned a Wii and a Wii U. I thought the Wii U was excellent. I liked the Wii U.
Yeah,
the Wii U was an excellent console that Nintendo had put out.
Yeah, you know what's insane about all this is you go back and look at all these prices, is you can get down to the Wii here. Like I have 2 little handheld $40, and they weren't even 40, like $30 little handheld consoles that have all the games from all these systems on it. And it was like $40. It's crazy that all that stuff is basically worthless now.
It truly is. I mean, even like some of the like PlayStation, for example, they have like Sega Classics. Like you can buy a game that called Sega Classic. It has like 40 games on it, and it's like $20.
Yeah,
I was like, I bought it because I like the Sega Genesis and the thing. They had like Sonic 1, 2, and 3. They had like Phantasy Star 3 and 4, and all the great games from PlayStation. The gun one where they would I can't remember the name of it, but just excellent games. And it was for like $20. I was like, dude, you can't go wrong with that.
No, and there's lots of neat things like that out there to get, which is another reason why people, I think, will probably end up waiting on this one at least a little while. I mean, obviously, it's a Nintendo product, so it's gonna sell. I mean, it's gonna sell huge. You know,
It is, and I think
There's
it's
no
going to
avoiding
do.
that.
I think it's going to do even better than what people are anticipating, because we have this whole Epic universe that's just opening up here in Orlando, which is an add-on to Universal. It's another park for Universal, and they have Nintendo Land there, and one of the rides is Mario Go-Kart that they have in this, and I can't wait for it to open to the public. I think it's in May. It's opening. My wife and I said we're going to go. We're going to go. Like, we love going to Universal, so we definitely want to go to Epic Universe. And Nintendo Land's like on my list of things I want to be able to go do. And I think with the coinciding of the release of the Switch 2 and Epic Universe, I think it's going to be a lot of advertisement, and I think people are going to, kids are going to want it. You got, Christmas, obviously, the season for this kind of stuff. But I just found it interesting. The most interesting point of the story that I found was people freaking out about the game price is going to be raised.
Well, yeah, I know. I thought the same thing when I was seeing 90, and I'm like, yeah, I remember Super Nintendo games being about $70-$80 sometimes. If I remember correctly, I want to say Final Fantasy 2 was around that. It was like $80, $85 or something like that at the time.
Yeah.
And people are blaming the tariffs. I'm pretty sure Nintendo came out and said that has nothing to do with the tariffs.
Correct.
First of all, and I just think I see what you're saying about the price, but I do understand what other people are saying, because us gamers, we've been getting kind of raked over the coals now for quite a while with, all the different schemes. You buy a game, it's
DLCs,
not completed.
Yeah.
And then you got to buy DLCs for it, and then it's like they're just working on the game, completing it over the course of years while you play it, and then it kind of becomes clear to you that you're essentially just a play tester for this thing, that you paid to be a play tester, and then and then they say things like you don't actually own the game, we can take it away and end it at any time. And then they're cracking down on streamers now. You're starting to see that more, which is really weird to me. I don't know why they would do that.
I didn't hear that story. What?
Yeah, there's more. There's some case that they're trying to say. Some of these companies are starting to say that, oh no, that's our content. We own it. It's our game, so it's our content. You can't monetize it, which is insane, because the popularity of these games. That's another thing I think is that they think. Well, I think that they think that their sales would be better if these people, because they think all these people are just watching the streamers play and not actually playing themselves.
Right.
And so they think that they're losing out on sales for that. So now the streamers become this liability to them.
Yeah, I think it's like free advertisement for the companies with these streamers doing that, especially.
Right, but the thing I was reading was talking specifically about like storyline games. So if if you're watching somebody play a game like Last of Us, for example, and then you're just watching the story play out, you're probably not going to play it yourself.
True.
Maybe.
I think it was Assassin's Creed 3. That's the here in the Americas that takes place, right? Revolutionary War. I don't know have you played the Assassin's Creed series?
I haven't played it, but I have all of them on Xbox. They're all sitting here right behind me. I don't know how I have them. I have them all somehow. I picked them up at garage sales over the years or something.
Anyway, Assassin's Creed 3 is it's probably one of their better ones. That one and Black Flag. Those are the two best of the series of the Assassin's Creed. Anyway, Assassin's Creed 3, loved the game. I played it. And then that's when I started kind of, YouTube was starting to become more of a big thing with the whole gamer things and stuff like that. And I found this guy that was playing it, going through it every episode. Like he had like so many episodes per video game. And watching him play made me want to go back and replay the game because of how entertaining he made the game as he was playing the game.
For sure. I agree. Like there's games like that, like Rust. Watching people, or DayZ. For me, I watched a guy called Frankie on PC in 1080p. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he got famous, I'm pretty sure, by doing DayZ videos. And I would get so into watching him. And then me, my wife, and all my friends all started playing really hardcore for years. I made friends all over the country from playing that game from years. And it all started with him, the streamer. So
yeah, I love it. I really like doing this, Drone Tech. This is fun. I enjoy doing this, and we were talking a little bit off stream about how hard it is to do like 2 channels of just entertainment, solely entertainment, then try to do your politics. It's really difficult. It's a lot of work that goes into just doing one of these, and I think it's okay for us to be able to have a break, to be able to just do a video like this. And I'm eager to see your guys' comments in the comment section later on after we publish this thing. Your guys' reaction. Do you guys want to see more of this type of content? If you do, let us know. And if there's enough, maybe I'll put a poll or something up. If there's enough of you guys, maybe Drone Tech and I will try to do this a little bit more often. And because I know he likes talking about this kind of stuff, I like talking about it, but it's a lot of work to try to do a whole channel of just doing stuff like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I appreciate you having me. It was a lot of fun. Just like you, I love talking about this stuff. It's fun, and it doesn't have that weight of politics, that's constantly on you. So it's nice to take a little break.
Yeah, for sure. So if you guys like this kind of stuff, let us know. I'm really eager to see what you guys think. I'm looking forward to reading the comments and interacting with you guys on it. Tell us about it, and if you guys don't, let us know as well. That's the only way that we are able to grow.
Leave it to Nerd Erotic.
Yeah, for real. I love that guy. By the way, I love Gary.
Oh yeah, me too. Great guy. Great channel.
Leave it to Jeremy from the Quartering. Let them talk about that kind of stuff. You're too boring, Frank.
Nah, we're not boring.
Nah, we're just old guys, but they're old guys too. Gary, I think Gary might be older than us.
Yeah, give us a few episodes. This could get interesting.
It could. All right, Drone Tech and myself, appreciate you guys joining us. I don't even have a real proper name for this. I think I titled it Culture Corner up in the thing because I had to title it something as we record this. I don't know what we're going to call this, but I think it's really cool. So, Drone Tech, thanks for indulging me for a little bit today, and I look forward to talking to you real soon.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys later. Have a great one, everyone. And until next time, have a great night.